Thank you, Jamie, and thank you, all of you, at FTCR for the work you do. One of the great things about this evening is going to a night where rage is the key word. Just thinking about it makes me warm and fuzzy all over. And then Jamie calls me and he's telling me about the evening. And he says, now remember, it's nonpartisan, Robert, it's nonpartisan. And I'm thinking, Jamie, you guys piss off everybody. There would never be any doubt in my mind. Who would think that you're on their side regularly? It's not a possibility. So anybody from the IRS who's here checking out, be very aware of this. And particularly at a time when, and Mrs. Edwards spoke about this, we see and experience compromising, putting a finger up to make sure we know which way the wind's blowing before walking out of the house, poll testing, checking everything. The wonderful, courageous, and terrific street fighters at FTCR never, ever do that, and we never have to worry about that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'd also like to take a moment to thank Mrs. Edwards and her husband on a matter that I've had personal experience with. We've been involved in a battle with Fox News. We were involved putting together some campaigns around the Nevada fight and the fight with the Congressional Black Institute. And Mr. Edwards, to his credit, not only was the first one to pull out of each of those debates, but he didn't pull out in a polite way and hiding behind schedule. He pulled out and he called it like it was, and he said what Fox News was doing, it was horrible, and he would not be a part of supporting that. So thank you for that courage. When Jamie called me about introducing Mike tonight, I, of course, was immediately thrilled. And I thought back to the days when Mike and I had started a group called Win Without War, when it was not like it is today, when a huge majority, is opposed to the war. There were very few people resisting and speaking out at the time. And I learned an enormous amount working with Mike back then. And one of the things that continues to stay with me, and you all saw the clip tonight, is we think Mike is totally honest and all, but let me tell you something. You know that gentle, warm, kind of engaging look that he has? Mike is a brutal fighter when you get into the trenches. And during the times when the attacks were coming from all over about being unpatriotic, this, that, or the other thing, Mike would go in front of the camera, he'd unleash that lovely, gentle smile, and he would tear the bastards to shreds, let me tell you, time after time after time. I had first gotten to know Mike, as many of you may have, through his emails that he sends out. And when I wasn't that active, and I heard about these emails, I thought it was like some secret society you had to be part of, you know, to get on Mike's list. Maybe then you could get the emails from him. So I remember one point, you know, very kind of hesitantly asking him if I could get the emails, and he smiled and said, sure. Then I started getting 3, 4, 5, 7 a day. It was more than Move On, and Move On hadn't even started at that point. So now, this last couple of months, my colleagues at Brave New Films and I have been focusing on short video pieces rather than the full-length films, which are, by the way, I was telling some of you, they're really an amazing tool. But no matter how many views we get on those short videos, there's no, I mean, we've gotten hundreds of thousands. There's nothing like when I get an email from Mike, because I'm on the list and he doesn't differentiate, and he'll say, "You've got to see this video." And I tell you, I feel like I've gotten the Oscar when it comes to Mike's. It is a spectacular feeling. And then when we start getting hundreds of thousands of views, I am still convinced that it's because Mike is sending it out to his list, and that is building, and why we're getting all these views. So with all of this, I thought it'd really be easy to introduce Mike, right? But then I remembered, there's a problem. Mike is an actor who doesn't seem to like the spotlight. Go figure. Mike is somebody who will not accept compliments. He hates gushing, and he will choke you if you start kvelling about his accomplishments. You know what kvelling is, Mike, right? Yeah, okay. So I started to think about all of the things that I really wanted to say tonight, and I realized that I couldn't. So I can't talk to you about Mike's integrity and what a difference that makes. When we were doing the anti-war organizing and we went out and reached out to hundreds of actors, it was Mike's reputation and integrity that got actor after actor to sign on at a time when it really was terrifying to speak out. So I wish I could tell you about that, but I can't. And I know for sure that he would not want me gushing about his sense of long-term commitment. We have a lot of people who go up and down with the mood of the moment. We have a lot of people who get into a fight for a second and then are gone. And I would love to describe what it means to know Mike takes these fights on, and he's there day after day, year after year, and doesn't rest until he's made a difference. But he would probably consider that gushing, so I won't talk about that. I know that I can't talk about what his warmth and his affection and his support has meant to me personally. There was some, in doing the documentary films that Jamie has talked about, there have been very, very dark days. There have been some horrific attacks from corporations with all kinds of resources. And Mike's personal reaching out, it'll be an email, it'll be a phone call, it'll be something that will come at exactly the right moment. And I'd love to go into detail with those stories, but I know he'd be very pissed off, so I won't tell you any of that. And finally, the last thing that I know he wouldn't want me to tell you is this amazing book that he has written. It is funny, it is personal, it's inspiring, and I'm so happy to be able to say this words, it's been an LA Times bestseller to add to Mike's career. But finally, I know what I can say, and I can say it so loudly, and I can say it so proudly, and I can say it without any rage. Citizen activist, not just for this year, but for many years to come, and dear friend, Mike Farrell.